So as you know, I have a very mixed opinion about Amazon's online shop and the way that they allow vendors to conduct business. Let's just say they allow for some nefarious means to enrichment. And what I mean is that there are a lot of reviews that are obviously fake and manipulated. So I was browsing, just scrolling through Amazon, and I came to this computer, and along with it, another one. So this one at $850. Um, let's take a look at what's inside. Now, you know, if you know me, that I'm not the biggest fan of SkyTech and the way that they have done business in the past, and some of the listings that they have had, the audacity of some of the listings that they have had. But in my opinion, this is a lot better. And maybe when you see it by itself, it doesn't look that great. But when you see the other one that this is up against, you'll see why I say that. Now, this is an Amazon's Choice computer, but that really doesn't mean that much. Um, let's take a look at the specs. So this is a SkyTech Gaming Nebula gaming PC desktop. A lot of keywords there, obviously. So this has a 13400F, which I think is a 6-core chip. It might be an 8-core, but I think it's a 6-core chip. It's an i5. This has a base RTX 4060, a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, 16 gigs of 3200 megahertz DDR4 RAM, a 600 watt gold PSU that looks like a Gamdias unit. I might be wrong, so not the best unit. 11 AC Wi-Fi. I don't know if that's a USB dongle or a built-in card, like a I/O card, but either way, apparently it has Wi-Fi. It might be through an M.2 slot as well, and this comes with Windows 11 Home 64-bit, obviously. And this is coming in at $850. Now, is this the best price in the world for this computer? No. But is it an okay price? Yes. And it's going to look a lot better when you see the PC that I saw first when I opened up Amazon. And this is also an Amazon's Choice computer. So this is a CLX gaming PC. And this price is wild. So this is a Core i9 12900KF. It has a 4060 Ti. 1 terabyte NVMe and a 4 terabyte HDD, 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM. It doesn't say what speed, and 240mm AIO, and also has Windows 11 Home. Now this is coming in at $1,700, and that is wild. So $1,700 is a lot for this. Now, it really depends on what you want to do, but this is advertising itself as a gaming PC, and as a gaming PC, that price is wild. So it says that it has a 750 watt power supply on the side. Yeah, this also looks like a Gamdias unit, just judging from that metal work. I recognize it. Now, the case is open to interpretation. The case is whatever you like for a case. That's up to you. I think this looks nice. It's very dark. It does seem to have 4 RGB fans. I'm not sure if it's static or controlled by the case, or it doesn't have an LED button, so it probably you can cycle through colors. And it does seem to have illuminated RAM as well, if that matters to you. It doesn't really matter to me, even though I do have the same thing. It does say 750 watt power supply if you look down here, but it doesn't say which one. It doesn't say what the rating is or anything like that. And so it doesn't give you a lot of detail, to be honest. Let's see if it says anything about the RAM speed. It just says 2 times 16. It doesn't say what speed the RAM is either. And then for this one, it says the RAM is 3200 megahertz and it has a 600 watt gold PSU. So this unit gives you a lot more detail, which I appreciate when shopping for PCs. Now, if I were looking for a computer, I probably wouldn't buy any of these. But if I had to choose between these two, I think I'm going with this one. So this one also has, in my opinion, this is a better looking case, just what I prefer. And it does seem to have some good ventilation. This one seems like it'll run quite hot, just looking at it. It does have some at the top, but not much. This one has some at the top and at the front, so I think this one's going to run a bit better. Now, looking at the components in more detail, this is only an i5, but it is a generation newer. This is a i9, but it is a generation older. Now, I think this is a 12 core or a 14 core chip. It doesn't say for some reason. You would think that they would say. Maybe it has more detail at the bottom, but the way that this is laid out is so confusing to me. It's very difficult to navigate. I never know what is going on. And then this one, I think it's a 6-core chip, but it is a newer generation. This has a base 4060, but if we take a look at the photos, this seems to be, it seems like a gigabyte variation of the card, a gigabyte shroud. And also looking at the motherboard, it's an Asus motherboard, because I recognize that metal bit. Not the most expensive motherboard in the world, but for this one, this is a bigger motherboard, probably a full ATX, but I'm not sure which brand. Don't recognize this motherboard. Both don't look extremely expensive. They both look like budget boards. But looking at the graphics card specifically, this one is a gigabyte variation, which this is a good shroud. It runs quite cool. I had something similar. I had a 2070 that was a similar shroud, and it ran really cool. And this is an MSI. This is an MSI Ventus 2X. And I know that because I have the 3070 version of this, and this is not a good shroud. Again, I have one, so I can say that. It's also a budget card. And so this computer, I feel like it's cutting a few corners. Doesn't tell you which RAM it is. It does have a 4 terabyte hard drive, but who cares about that? You can get a hard drive for so cheap now if you just want to add one. And you know, the difference in price between these two computers just doesn't make sense. I'll get into more on that in a bit, but to me, this one is priced a lot better. Before I get more into the pricing, let's take a look at the reviews. This one has, I find Amazon so difficult to navigate sometimes. This one has almost 600 reviews, and it has 8% 1 star, 2% 2 star, 3% 3 star, that's quite funny, 4% 8 star, and almost 80% 5 star. So it's got a rating of 4.5 out of 5, and it has a lot of reviews. Now, I'm not going to read through too many of them because most of these are bought. Let's just be honest. It is SkyTech, and I think most vendors buy reviews on Amazon. I don't think that's a big secret. But if we look at this one, it has 99 ratings. It's a newer listing, I would think, and 4.4. So it's close in terms of rating. But again, let's be honest. If you spend $1,700 on a computer and you get this, you're not going to give it almost 5 stars. You're going to give it like 2 stars. At least I would. Now, for me, I wouldn't purchase a pre-built computer to begin with because I have the skill to build it myself. But I do understand that a lot of people either don't have the skill to build it, don't have the time to build it, don't have the interest to build it, or just want something functional right out of the box. Or some people are just buying computers for their kids. Some people want to receive a computer, get the box, open the computer, plug it in, play Fortnite. That's the reality for most of these computers. And that's fine. I mean, that's what PCs are for, gaming PCs. But I just don't think that the value proposition is there. Now, this one is a little bit better because buying this is going to cost you quite close to that price if you buy the parts and build it yourself. So, this one to me isn't a ridiculous price. It's not amazing, but it's not crazy. I think this one there is some value to be had here, and it is to some extent at least fair. This one, on the other hand, is just insane. the price, and I just don't understand how it gets this rating. It has to be review manipulation. It's just it just doesn't make sense if it isn't, because because it's just too expensive. I mean, for $1,700, you could get a 4070, you could get a 2 terabyte NVMe, and you could get a DDR5 system. So you could get close to twice this performance for this price. So you can't tell me that 100 people are ignorant to that fact. And if they are, maybe they are, but that's sad, because there's a lot more value to be had out there. And so I don't know this brand, CLX. The logo looks a lot like the SkyTech logo, but it's just, it doesn't make sense to me why people would purchase these. Like I said, this one is a little bit better. And the thing is, like, if you do want to buy a pre-built, there's nothing wrong with that, but have a good look, because there's a lot of computers on here, and I think there's a bit better value out there. Don't necessarily just look at Amazon's choice, because it doesn't really mean much, because this PC has Amazon's choice as well. And approach people like me or other YouTubers and ask them for their opinion on computers before you purchase them. A lot of people, not even just YouTubers, a lot of people just in the community are willing to help and want to help. I think people don't want to see other people make stupid choices when it comes to finances. So for the most part, I think you'll be safe if you just ask a few questions, and just double check, compare, make sure that the price you're paying is a price that makes sense. Because with these sorts of things, they manipulate the reviews, they ask too much for it, and as far as I know, the after sale support isn't good. So you are going to be left alone if you buy something like this, and you're probably not going to be happy with your purchase unless you don't know any better, which I guess a lot of people don't. But for me, I'd say stay away. I would never touch anything like this. This I would consider, but I would rather just build it myself. So yeah, if we talk about gaming performance, it's going to be close. This PC isn't even going to perform much worse than this one, which is also insane. It might perform like 10 to 15% worse, but the price difference is almost twice. So yeah, just the maths aren't working there. And now if you're talking about a workstation, I would still go with this one. And the reason I say that is because, yes, you get a i9 with this one, and you do get 32 gigs of RAM. But the difference in price between getting that i9 and getting that extra 16 gigs of RAM to just upgrading this and upgrading the RAM as well is not another $850. It just isn't. It's maybe another $300. So if you spend around $1,000 or $1,100, you could get the performance of this in this form factor. So that's probably what I would do. I would never purchase this system. It just doesn't make financial sense to me, and I don't think you should either. So yeah, that's going to be about it for this video. Thanks for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think these PCs have good value? And like I said, always ask someone before purchasing something that you're unsure about. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.